Yep. Hooked up. This one was down about 40 feet, so another active fish up in the water column. You can see him coming up here on the forward. He's right about 20 feet now. Looks like a nice little red mark there. Here he comes. See if we can get this one up. And, man, he came from about 15 or 20 feet away. We might have to get the net for this one. Nice fish. Beautiful Lake Erie walleye. Let's see if we can get him to come up here. There we go.
A little better one.
Oh, yeah. Perfect. He was nice and shallow. Missed him again. I got a case of the misses this morning. Oh, maybe
miss
not.
that time.
Third time's a charm. Oh, just another explosive ball. This morning bite has been a lot better than the afternoon bite. The afternoon bite, we've had to do a lot of switching over to night crawlers, but this morning, these guys are really coming up and they're really attacking this bait. The nice thing is, like I said, we're catching them shallow. You know, I mean, shallow meaning we're catching them shallow in the water column. It's 72 degrees, 73 degrees surface. You know, we've got some really active fish this morning. They're around bait, but man, what another great Lake Erie eater. We're not out here setting records in tournaments yet, but man, I'll tell you what, the Velocin is coming to the boat this morning. So right now I'm kind of just looking through my screen. I've got some bait located up here at the top, and I'm scanning the bottom. I hear all these smell, and all of a sudden, there's Walter right there. He's about 60 feet out or away from the boat, and he's down about 70 feet. So that's why we picked a little bit heavier application for getting our baits to him. I've got about a 3/4 ounce jig head, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up. And now my transducers are actually on my foot pedal. What that means is I've placed my transducers on the actual Minn Kota trolling motor, and that allows me to have my hands free. A lot of guys use poles. We're actually going to set up a pole system this afternoon and maybe show you guys a little bit how to do that. But right now I'm just kind of working through the water column, making a scan and looking for fish, or looking for targets, I like to say, to cast at. And I think I got a couple coming here. And looking ahead here, these fish seem to be about 80-ish feet out. There's another one at 70. I'm going to line my line up. I'm going to make a cast. And I use my thumb to actually stop on that line to get it to go to that desired distance. So here goes my jig. See if it's going down through the bait. It's going a little slow here. But again, we're going to try to get this fish's attention. That's one thing that this clear water does help us with, is these fish can sometimes see that bait, you know, 20 and 30 and 40 feet away. So I'm going to give it a little reel, kind of bring it a little closer to my target. Looks like this fish is getting behind me. They are always swimming. That's one thing about fish, is they are never stagnant. They're never staying still. I'm going to line up both my jig and hopefully that walleye with that jig and see if I can get him to come around and make a little magic happen. So he's kind of getting behind us, and my jig's not going to be a good enough cast. So I might have to reevaluate where I am. I might just go ahead and tear this thing right up. And I'm going to swim around and try not to throw Jimmy out of the boat as he's making this video. But this is the versatility of having a foot pedal and a motor that has this transducer already located on the actual shaft at, there it is. Man, he spun all the way around. Look at that. He's made a complete loop around us. Just got to keep looking here, keep looking, keep looking. I think he's over here in about that 50 foot. There he is, right about 50 feet. Gonna line it up again, find out where he's the thickest and looks the most dense on the return. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just kind of work my foot around. Looks like he's heading a little bit south. Maybe he's heading south already for the winter. Man, a little early to be doing that, but I'll line him up, get to about 70, make my cast, have a little look down through here. We're going to chase this one for a little bit because he looks like a nicer fish.
Point out the perspective of where the transducer signal's coming for those who don't understand.
Right. So the transducer signal is actually down in the water on my trolling motor. And the way that it's lined up is I have it zeroed right here on the head of the motor. So as I turn, that's the direction or perspective in which way it's looking. Right now I'm on a forward setting. And with that, I'm at 0. And I can see out, I've got it set at about 110. I don't like to go a little more, I don't like to go past 110 just because the fact that at 110 I can't cast that far. The other thing I like to see too is a little bit of this bottom just to see how they're relating. If you're fishing fish that are just in the water column, there's some easy adjustments that allow you to kind of zoom in, zoom out of where these fish might be in that water column.
So this is actually different than a regular graph, because a regular graph, your information is coming from the right to the left. Here we're looking left to right. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is correct. So in fact, yes, we are at 0. We have a little bit of of some under reading. Also, it's kind of set back maybe about 10, 15 feet, so I can actually physically see what's under the boat as well.
Right.
Ooh, there's a little target. Let's see if we can get this guy to go for a minute. So I'm going out about 70. And again, we've got Jigger's Paradise out here. The weather is making this really making us look pretty good, you know, as far as what we have for conditions.
Point out where your lure is.
So my lure, my lure's coming down here at about 72 feet.
Going right at it.
He's already on it, and we're hooked. Just like that.
I love it.
That fish was ready to feed this morning. That was really cool. Yeah, you played the script, right? Thanks for playing. But no, the nice thing about these fish, again, the higher the fish, the more active they are. It doesn't take as long for our jigs to get to them, and always fun to land one on a rod and reel.
Oh, yeah.
See if we can get this one to come up. We're going to make this one famous, Jimmy.
That's right.
There's a beauty. Like I said, another 20-incher just to kind of get the day started. You can see
bread and butter until we make our living on
That's
these
right.
guys.
That's right. These are great eating, easy dragging.
And they are eating that
They
thing.
are eating this morning, aren't they?
That's crazy.
That's awesome. Another set of pliers, and we'll get her back. Hey, guys, just out here testing that new lab series from Berkeley. What an interesting format. They've got a combination of a couple of different power baits and some of the different gels that they've come up with. They actually put a coating on it that has a scent release. Now, I'm not a huge proponent of scents until it makes a difference, right? So what this is doing is as it's in the water, they've put out some really cool videos, and the scent is actually releasing. That fish just delayed for about 3 to 4 seconds, took a little longer, didn't really attack it, got close to it, and then it went ahead and came the extra distance and closed the deal. So Berkeley Lab Series found at Doc's Tackle. If you get a chance to get your hands on some, you might want to give them a shot. They look just like the smelt that these fish are spitting up this morning. So I'm using some X8 braid from Daiwa. It's a sinking braid. I've got it in 10-pound test. Jimmy, I think we got one on that back. Yeah, he's going. There he goes. As I'm doing that, Jimmy's got one hooked up here in the back on our Walleye Nation Creation search bait. Let me see if I can get him to get this one reeled in, Jimmy.
With my headphones on.
Yeah, that boy. Looks like we're hooked up. The captain's finally got one.
This is kind of a treat for me, and I think this is the second fish I've caught in 3 years, believe it or not.
I love it.
You know, one thing I talk about my customers, too, is pumping. You know, I see it in the Keys when I'm guiding the Keys, and they pump, and then they make that rod tip straight. Oh, I just like to see my customers, especially with walleye, steady, crank, just keep pressure on it, and that's what happens.
Beauty.
You catch them? Yeah, it is.
Might have to get the net.
It's an awesome technique, man. It's about the same.
Oh, nice little leader.
Does this one tighten up? We can
Oh,
do that.
yeah.
There we go.
Good to go. Good job.
Yahoo! Jim caught a fish.
Love it. 50. I want to go in the direction that it's pointing. You know, the other thing to practice my distances, I would go to a buoy that was in the water, and I would see, you know, set it up at 50 feet, and in this, you know, see the chain that it was hooked up to at 50 feet to identify how far I needed to cast to get to 50 feet, and that really helps. And just, you know, the muscle memory of doing it over and over and over again has been really helpful in getting your distances, because it can make a huge difference. A little cadence. Just out here throwing a little mooch minnow. I've got a 3/4 ounce jig head on. You know, whatever preference of jig head that you like. We like my buddy Mike over at I1 Baits. We're doing a little field test on some new tungsten we might be coming out with here soon. But I've got a little 3.5, 4-inch plastic here from Crush City. Just another pink minnow. We kind of featured this yesterday. But looking at this, this is the same size and very similar in color, the smell that these walleyes are spitting up. So we're out here doing a little bit of kind of casting, kind of looking around, some prospecting. Look here. Looks like a couple of really high walleyes. Look at the walleyes up in the bait. Now at 10 to 20 feet down, that's nothing that a 10-color lead could get their hands on. So maybe, you know, the 10-color lead might be down in this 50, 60, but it looks like I've got a couple targets. I don't know if they're walleyes right off the rip, but I'm going to give them a cast. My bait just landed at 90, and these fish seem to be pretty active. If they're up in the bait,
right there,
they're going to be pretty active.
You got them. Awesome.
So that's how that's supposed to go. Now they got the other one following. Look at the other one following with him. His brother's right there looking for him. But watch how it affects that bait. These fish coming through that bait will really see this in live time, which is the, you know, the neat part about forward facing is we're not seeing these after the fact. We're seeing them right here live. Another nice eater.
Oh yeah, nice fish.
So I'm going to take my hypodermic needle. I'm going to count in, maybe 6 or 8 scales. Going to come in here, and then I like to pull this out, and you can actually physically hear the air coming out of that fish. And what it's doing is it's releasing that fish so that now all of that air buildup is now gone. And this fish is going to be really good to go heading back. And you can see it's livening right up. And we're going to be able to release this fish. So the guys that are, you get past your limit, or, you obviously don't want to catch too many or go past, maybe a smaller fish you want to release. That might be a way to do it, and it's called fizzing a fish. Jig is here. My fish is here. I overshot the runway just a little bit, so I don't know if we're going to play with that one yet. So this might be an outtake. Or this may be a good video where one comes flying out of the back. Who knows? And a lot of times, we may not see the fish for a few minutes here, and then all of a sudden off the bottom or off the screen, here they come. They can see it much better than we can. So, oh, there's my fish over there. Just gonna head. I like to head downwind too. That's another thing. We'll be talking about these breaks here in a little bit and what the advantage is. But right now we're just kind of fun fishing around and just kind of looking for some targets to cast at. There's a nice little target there, about 70 feet out. I'm gonna go ahead and make my cast. A lot of times, I like to cast past my fish, and I think that's a lot of a learning curve. Is if I short this cast, I'm not going to be able to get it to these fish. I've got 2 fish here. I've got a bait that's headed down to those fish, if you guys can see that. And, I've got a 3/4 ounce. This may be a little light. I might have to go a little heavier. It's a little slow, but it's not that windy today. So we're just going to kind of keep these in the same frame, see if I can get this one to come up, give it a little shake. One more shake here, see if I can get them to go. And this is where you're going to have to start to get a little bit edgy with your cadence. Get them to chase. See if I can get this fish to come up a little faller. Yep. Maybe do the yo-yo effect. Let it fall for a little bit. Bring it back up past them and see if I can get them interested. And so unfortunately, sometimes we don't get all the bites. And this fish is interested, just hasn't committed. And sometimes it's just like ice fishing. For my guys that are sitting over the ice hole, they use that Panoptic. Sometimes they use live sonar. And this one's really just not going to do it. Or maybe I just got to work them a little bit longer. And again, I'm adjusting my LiveScope to see them. One thing guys do is they'll put it out there thinking, well, I saw it for a split second. It must still be there. Again, current. I mean, you can see it right now where my line is directly under the boat.
Yep.
And unfortunately, this fish is now behind us. And I'm going to have a tough time, getting him to come up and commit with that drag. So we'll just see if I can get him. Here he comes.
So a lot of people say they don't, walleye bite is not like a bass bite. They don't smash it. What's your bite feeling like?
Right now, it's funny. I think each bait presents a different bite and how they attack this, right? So, fortunately, we've had some kamikaze walleyes this morning that have really come in and hammered this thing. Whereas, maybe on a night crawler, it might be a little less. They might do the old inhale, or if we're fishing shallower water in the springtime, they may pin it down and just sit on it. And so for this one, if I can get these fish to come up, looks like I got this one just coming up a little bit. See if he'll come up and do it, and he'll go away. But again, these fish are a little interested. We're going to put on a little, might have to go a little live bait this morning to get them to go, but it looks like we're going to keep them interested for a little bit. But if they don't bite, we go to the next one. Another quick tip is cadence. And cadence meaning, just like in a football game, when they're going to spike the ball or when they're going to go ahead and, snap the ball to get a Josh Allen, throw that quick 6, is the motion in which you are retrieving your bait to get that fish engaged. We call it engagement. Jess, if you're watching, I'm not talking about your engagement ring that's on order, but no, just kidding. Engagement meaning, how do I get that fish engaged? And right there, I gave it a couple small pops. And what that did is it got that minnow to move kind of quickly in front of that fish and it engaged the fish. So when it's engaged, you can really get them to sell out. And once they sell out, this is the result. We've got a nice little Lake Erie walleye coming up through. Water's beautiful this morning. We got a little bit of color in it today. We haven't had a ton of rain, but we had some wind the last couple days. And man, look at that fish coming up through there. It's beautiful. There he is. Another Lake Erie hungry walleye. Maybe keep a couple for dinner tonight.